I wanted to make this video just to talk about something that is quite close to my heart. Beyond Airbnb and anything really to do with the industry itself, it's simply running a business. Something I always wanted to do, and I think this is quite a big difference between people that are a bit more entrepreneurial minded and people that are not necessarily that way inclined. Is people are not necessarily happy with their current circumstances, and they are prepared and wanting to make fundamental changes to their lives in order to achieve that. And I'm certainly one of those people. Something that I would say is in probably some ways a burden of being a business owner and being entrepreneurial minded is you're very unhappy a lot of the times with things that you have accomplished, which, if we're honest, is beyond most people, because we are prepared to push ourselves to beyond really what is normally acceptable or normally what people think they are capable of doing. There are some things I've done in order to keep my business alive that people have told me that they wouldn't be prepared to do. I mentor a lot of people as well, and I've said about some things that I have done in order to keep my business alive, and I can tell that they go quiet because they are not prepared to do that. And that is something that I think is fundamental to my success now, but also is very important to my success leading forward. Is something that other businesses don't have, that my business has, is me. And there isn't anything I'm not prepared to do in order to make my business successful. I'm really prepared to push the limits far beyond what other people seem capable or prepared to do. Something I always do around this time of year is reflect on this current year, the things I wanted to achieve and get done this year. Have I accomplished them? What are my goals are for the next year? And how do I envision my business to look by the end of the year? How do I envision myself to be by the end of the year from an improvement standpoint on myself personally? Because I am quite a big believer that, especially when you're young, and anyone that is young out here and wanting to start a business, is you are not always the best fit or the best person to be running your business, because you are still growing in yourself as a person. That is something that is very true about me. I might not necessarily be prepared or capable of the growth that my business is achieving due to my own personal limitations, and that is something that forces entrepreneurial people to become better, because they have to become better for their business to become better. And if you're truly passionate about what it is that you do, you will make those changes in order to make your business successful. Something as well that a lot of people don't talk about in business is just how hard it is all of the time. You know, you have to be prepared to go for years sometimes without any real gratification. Successful, even on a small level, it is so hard, and not from a physical standpoint in that, you know, you're not labouring for 12 hours a day, you know, digging holes. That is physically a lot harder than running a business. But I'm talking about the constant levels of stress. Me personally speaking now, I probably have around £50,000 of personal debt that if my business fail, I will be liable for. That is going to increase next year to over £100,000 of debt. Now, if my business fails, you're talking about some real serious repercussions to me personally if that does not work out. But these are the facts of people, especially young people, that are wanting to start a business and wanting to run a business. Is you have to take on those levels of personal stress. But this is the difference between people that are entrepreneurial minded, people that are business owners, is they have broad shoulders that can take a lot of load. You know, I'll find that, you know, these things don't keep me up at night. These aren't things that I think about so much, but they are facts and they are stresses that I deal with. A lot of people, when they start a business, they think it's going to be nothing but Lambos, yachts, and whatever else comes along, holidays, in the next 12 months, 24 months, 3 years, because they see other people do it online and then they think that that will become them. In my experience, most people that are business owners, every penny they make really gets reinvested into the business. Why? It goes back to what I was saying earlier, when They want to see their business grow. It's not a financial thing. People don't want to see themselves be rich. They want to see themselves become free. They want to be independent of their own money. They want to be able to control their own level of income. They want to have control of what they feel over their lives. And that is something that is very true with me. I want to be in control of my life. I want to set myself targets and set myself goals that I envision for my life. And I want to have the time in order to allocate to that. It's very hard to be all in on your dreams if you're spending 40, 50, 60 hours a week working for someone else's dreams. There's nothing wrong with doing that, especially if it aligns in with your goals. Something that is very hard for me when running a business is managing work and life. A lot of people tend to call this work-life balance. It's something that is very challenging because you normally, when you have friends or social groups, social settings, you'll talk about different stresses and things that are going on within your life. It's very hard to do that when you're a business owner because, currently right now we have 6 people that work for Stayful. We have another 20 people, including contractors. We're running over a 7-figure business, and there are many, many different stresses that come along. I was talking about personal finances earlier. I don't know anybody that is 25 years old, that is in my social setting, that's in my social circle, that I can relate to or offload to talk about those stresses with, because they can't relate to me. I'm not expecting them to relate to me. I can handle these things perfectly fine, but it is something that's a fact of becoming a business owner, is you can find it's quite a lonely task. And you'll find where normally if you can offload a lot of stresses and share them with other people, you can't do that when you're a business owner, purely because people can't relate to you. Which does bring me on to managing cash flow. Managing cash flow, I personally think, is the biggest stress and the biggest worry of every business owner. And honestly, I don't know because I haven't got this far yet. It's still a stress of mine, but I would say it takes 10 years before managing cash flow really starts to get any better, really, whatsoever. Now, why is this a big issue? Because you making a big change, especially for people that are used to working for somebody else, is that you have money that you take, then you have expenses, then you have expenses for growth, then you have tax. And you'll find that what is left at the end of the year is very, very little, and that is what you pay your lifestyle with, which is where I was alluding to earlier, where a lot of business owners, they push for these things and they push to build bigger businesses, not because it increases their lifestyle, but really because they just desire more. They want to see how hard they can push themselves. They want to see how big they can become and how bright that they can burn, and that's just the nature of people. That's just the nature of people that are business owners. That's just the nature of people that are entrepreneurial. Another thing that's a big worry of being a business owner that not a lot of people appreciate is the government. The government honestly do not care about small business owners. All they want you to do is just go and get a job and fit into their little funnel where they can collect their tax from you before you've even had your wage and get you to spend as much of that wage as humanly possible. Honestly, I didn't really have these sorts of viewpoints on the government before I started a business, but honestly I feel like this country's so broken that all they really care about is squeezing the life out of every single person that's here to try and cover for mistakes that were made 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. But they can do things like, all of a sudden you can be building your business on what you think is one set of rules and everything's going swimmingly, and then the government turn around and decide that they've changed those rules and they're going to do something else that's completely different. And you've built your business based on one set of rules, which has now been scrapped, and then they now create a new set of rules, and you've got to learn to adapt to those times. And sometimes running a business can be like the captain of a ship. It's very easy to change course if you're in a little dinghy, but if you're in an aircraft carrier, that takes a very long time to make any changes, and it can be very costly to your business due to circumstances that are really out of your control. There's not anything you can do to change or impact or persuade the government really in any way, because they don't listen to anything small business owners have to say. So I didn't want to make this video to be all sort of doom and gloom about running a business. Don't get me wrong, there are some fantastic perks that come with running a business. You get to manage your own time. You get to devote yourself to a passion that you should have about, which is why I'm very important that building a business, you need to have a passion for what it is that you're doing, else you'll be very unhappy. Feel like you're building something for yourself and for maybe even future generations if people have families. Another thing is the financial aspect. Don't get me wrong, there is money to be made in running a business. You know, you can choose to go on those holidays should you wish, providing your finances can do that. There are many fantastic benefits to running a business, but I just wanted to have some time for people to be real with people, what it's like when it comes to running a business. Nice to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.